A very good evening to you and welcome to ATN Global News for today. Before we begin, let's take a look at the headlines. NDDC begins repairs of East-West Road. Government imposes 40 Naira daily tax on corpses. Analysts decries. Electoral violence in Nigeria. Violent storms kills 8 persons in Brazil. NMPCL permits all marketers. Super Eagles in Benina for Libya clash. R. Kelly's daughter claims sexual abuse. Now to the rest of our stories. Niger Delta Development Commission has commenced emergency repairs of the failed sections of the East-West Road between Warri in Delta State and Benin in Edo State. The Commission said the repairs will be more on the dilapidated sections along Ibadulume, Amukwe Roundabout, Mosoga and Ologbo. The NDDC Managing Director, Dr. Samuel Ogbuku, who disclosed this when he inspected the ongoing repairs at the failed sections of the road in the company of the Executive Director, Projects, Sir Victor Antai, and other directors of the Commission, expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu for giving the directive for the urgent restoration of the failed sections of the strategic road traversing the Niger Delta region. A statement issued by the NDDC Director of Corporate Affairs, Mrs. Saledi Thompson Wakama, on Sunday. The NDDC boss said following a presidential directive to urgently intervene to restore the dilapidated sections of the East-West Road. The NDDC has quickly mobilized the civil engineering firm Delta State Police Command has arrested a man simply identified as Daniel for allegedly stabbing a girl after a sex romp in Agbo, Ika South local government area of Delta State. Eyewitness say the suspect, a regular customer at the brothel, had hinged his refusal to pay the agreed fee on his claim that the sex worker denied him ejaculation during the third round of the sex romp, while the sex worker was insisting that he must pay the complete amount as agreed. The suspect picked a knife, possibly from the sex worker's kitchen, stabbed her, and dragged the knife downward. The man was arrested by police officers after a distress call by some residents. The sources added that the victim, whose identity could not be ascertained as of the time of filing this report, was in critical condition when she was rushed to the hospital for medical attention. A senior police officer in the Agbo division of the police who confirmed the arrest said a team of police officers from the division was dispatched to the scene after a distress call, while the state police public relations officer, Bright Edafe, said he had called DPO Agbo, who promised to get back to him on the matter. Imo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party says the position of its leader, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, as the National Secretary of the party is not in dispute. A press statement issued by its State Publicity Secretary, Lancelot Obiaku, said the clarification became necessary following what he described as an infertile and misleading publication on social media platforms, purporting that the National Working Committee has suspended him as National Secretary of Party, alongside the acting National Chairman, Ambassador Ilya Damagum. He said the story should be disregarded as it is entirely false, baseless and laughable, adding that the issue of Senator Anyawu's position as national scribe has long been rested by the Federal High Court in Abuja, which declared on Tuesday, January 9, and he remains the valid National Secretary of the party. The court also issued an order restraining any group within its national leadership from appointing any person as acting national secretary when Anyawu's 4-year tenure is still running and subsisting until December 9, 2025. Enugu State government has clarified the controversial mortuary tax imposed on corpses in the state, adding that it was not intended as a revenue-generating measure, but rather to discourage excessive storage of deceased bodies in mortuaries. The executive chairman of Enugu State Internal Revenue Service, Emmanuel Namani, who disclosed these while reacting to the mortuary tax circular addressed to all mortuary attendants, said, in line with the provisions of Section 34 of the Birth, Deaths and Burials Law, Cap 15 revised laws of Enugu State 2004, the state government approved the implementation of the mortuary tax. According to him, the amount to pay as the mortuary tax was 14 naira daily and not 40,000 naira, stressing that it is an indirect tax paid by mortuary owners, not deceased families. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested a Thailand returnee, Ogwejiofo Naimeka Simon Peter, for importing 13.30 kilogram of heroin worth over 3.192 billion naira at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. NDLEA also said its operatives at 3 seaports intercepted large consignments of opioids with a combined monetary value 22.7 billion naira. A statement on Sunday by Femi Babafemi, Director Media and Advocacy, NDLEA headquarters Abuja, said Ogwejiofo was arrested while attempting to smuggle illicit drug out of the airport. The substances were concealed in 6 backpacks and then packed into 2 suitcases. In his statement, Ogwejiofo claimed he was hired for a fee of $7,000 upon successful delivery of the parcels, adding that he was to deliver 2 parcels in Lagos and the other 4 parcels in Accra, Ghana. Tragedy struck in the Oshodi area of Lagos when a train crushed a 50-year-old man identified simply as Emmanuel to death. The deceased sister, whose name is not yet known, informed the police that she received a phone call around 9 a.m. alerting her that her older brother had been fatally struck by the moving train. The police public relations officer, Police State Command Benjamin Hundeyin, in a statement confirmed that the Mosafejo division of the command was notified of the incident and the police immediately dispatched a team of detectives to the scene. Hundeyin further confirmed that the case had been transferred to the Railway Police Command in Ebutemeta for further investigation, adding that the exact circumstances surrounding the accident are still unclear, after a similar incident was recorded in the Mushin area of the state in August, when a male adult was crushed to death by a moving train. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, in a statement signed by its spokesperson, Nosa Okumbo, said the victim was found dead at the scene with severe injuries sustained from the collision. Suspected serial killer Ogunaihe Philip, who made young ladies his victims, has confessed to how he got 3 females killed to get their phones to sell and get some money as ransom from their families while pretending they were still alive. He spoke on how he raped 2 victims before killing one of them and only spared the life of his 4th victim after collecting a phone, adding that he bore different names in all the places he was going so that he would not be easily detected as an ex-prison inmate and serial killer. The suspect, who spoke boldly and seemed not afraid of the worst judgment to be delivered on his case by a court of law, however, said that he would choose a decent path of life if opportune to come in the next world. Philip, aged 29 years old, was arrested by Ogun State Police Command for allegedly kidnapping, raping and robbing before killing his victims. And the late victims included Dina Abigail, Ogunyemi Mary and Akinsanya Abibat. And exhibits recovered from him included iPhone XR, iPhone 11, Infinix Hot 10 phone, Money Points POS machine and 2 black ropes. The Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Alamutu, said on May 26, 2024, Abigail, a nurse, left her home at Inyana Agbado in Ewerekoro local government area of the state to a workplace at Sodiwa Medical Center, Itori, but was kidnapped and taken to a forest in the same area. And Philip robbed the victim of her iPhone XR and strangulated her to death. The kidnapper later contacted the victim's family on phone and collected the sum of 50,000 naira as ransom after abandoning the corpse in the forest. Ogun State All Progressives Congress Youth Leaders Forum has condemned the killing of the councillorship candidate of Abeokuta South Local Government in the forthcoming November 16th local government elections in the state. Adeleke Adeyinka was killed by some assailants suspected to be cultists at Jide Jones area, Oke Ileo, Abeokuta on Saturday. Eyewitness said the gunmen came in a tinted car, after which one of them stepped out of the car and shot the 40-year-old transport union worker at a close range. The assailant also smashed the head of the deceased to ensure that he was dead before joining others in the car and then fled the scene. And the Youth Forum has demanded justice and urged the security agencies to ensure that Adeyinka's killers are brought to book. A statement signed by the youth leader Abeokuta South Local Government, Kabir Odedairo, and the Public Relations Officer, Ogun State Youth Leaders Forum, Timothy Odedina, respectively, said members were deeply saddened and outraged by the murder. The spokesperson for the State Police Command, SP Omolola Odutola, who confirmed the incident, said Adeyinka Adeleke was left dead at the scene before the perpetrators fled to an unknown location, and efforts were ongoing to apprehend the fleeing suspects. Ogun State government has issued a strong warning to the National Union of Road Transport Workers, threatening to restrict their activities if peace and order are not maintained within the union. The warning follows recent internal conflicts within the union, particularly in Ijabode, which have raised concerns about public safety. A statement issued by the Ogun State government and shared on its X platform on Sunday, the government said it will not allow any group to disrupt the peaceful environment that has been cultivated in the state. The statement comes after reports surfaced of a potential protest by some NURTW members in Ijabode, who were allegedly challenging the decisions of the union's established leadership in the state. In response, the Commissioner for Transportation, Engineer Benga Dairo, cautioned the union members, warning that any attempts to disturb the peace would lead to restrictions on the union's activities in public spaces, and also reminded the union of their responsibility to operate within the law. Expert has advocated for a better working condition and welfare to boost medical staff efficiency across the country. Speaking on the Atlantic Television Network program, ATN Sunday, a socio-political analyst, Okechukwu Odenkwo, stressed on the need for a reviewed attention concerning health workers as well as professionalism in the practice.
When a medical personnel is well paid, I don't think there will be need for him or her to engage in some form of unethical practice. Secondly, who are the persons that are inducted? How, you don't churn out half-baked graduates. Were they properly drilled before becoming medical doctor? What's the process?
Ekie also expressed displeasure over incessant strikes during academic session.
My worriedness most of the time is this issue of a strike too, where the government universities will go on strike, and then as soon as they call off strike, they hurriedly crash the programs, the studies to just meet up the academic calendar, and then you graduate them out to go and turn human beings to become animals, in terms of performing surgery and all of that. So I think that's why most times I get too worried in this ASU strike.
This comes as the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria said the country is in dire need of medical workers owing to the growing population of the country as well as the brain drain syndrome. In preparation for the 2025 budget, the Kwara government has rounded off its engagement with citizens across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Their engagement, which had in attendance representatives from Kwara South, Kwara North, and Kwara Central, was initiated to obtain inputs from the people of each senatorial district before documentation of the year's appropriation bill and submission to the State House of Assembly for approval. While the 3 days of citizens' engagement for Kwara North were held in Barutin local government, while that of Kwara South and Kwara Central took place in Oke-Ero local government and Ilorin South local government, respectively. A government house statement on Sunday said the State Commissioner for Planning and Economic Development, Lafia Korasabi, said the forum was to bolster the economic and infrastructural growth of the state, and the event was about the people at the grassroots level towards espousing their developmental expectations to be captured in the 2025 budget. Lafia said development can only be accelerated if the government prioritizes the needs of the people, saying that Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak has made it a cardinal policy to engage the citizens at the local level since his assumption to office to engender an inclusive government, and called on the people to ventilate their views freely and assured them that their request would be captured in the 2025 budget for implementation. Kogi State Governor Ahmed Ododo has urged directors of local government and treasurers to uphold the tenets of local government autonomy and professional ethics in the discharge of their responsibilities. Ododo, who disclosed these at an interactive session on Sunday at the Forum of Directors of Local Government and Treasurers at the Government House in Lokoja, charged the local government administrators to see themselves as representatives of the government at the grassroots, adding that their performance as top civil servants would strengthen the relationship between the government and the people and bring about more development in local government administration. Ododo commended the resilience and productivity of the directors of local government and treasurers, stressing that their importance in ensuring accurate records and upholding professional ethics, particularly among accountants in the public sector, is crucial for ensuring transparency and accountability in governance. He also called for unity amongst officials, encouraging them to rally around the Accountant General of the state, Habibab Onumoko, to ensure the delivery of democracy dividends to the people at the grassroots level. In his remarks, the Speaker of the Kogi State House of Assembly, Aliyu Umbar, commended Ododo's transparency and accountability as a leader and promised that the legislature will continue to support the governor in his efforts to take governance closer to the people at the grassroots. Vice President Kashim Shettima has unveiled the strategy document of the Nasarawa State Human Capital Development Agency, which is aimed at improving the welfare and means of livelihoods of residents across the 13 local governments of the state. The Vice President also unveiled the state's Gender Transformative Human Capital Development Policy framework, which seeks equity for both the male and female genders in the state. Speaking at the event, which was held at the Government House, Lafia, Shatima, who is also the national chairman of the Human Capital Development Agenda, expressed the commitment of President Bola Tinubu's administration to lift many Nigerians out of poverty in the shortest possible time through the numerous unfolding government policies that had been put in place by the federal government. He said the government was not only committed to ensuring that youths acquire employable skills, but it aims to empower them to export those skills globally, for them to be able to compete at the highest levels of the international markets. Shatima commended the Nasarawa State Government and its Human Capital Development Agency for their untiring efforts in ensuring that our residents of the state, especially the youths, are given the needed empowerment and support to improve their livelihoods. Suspected armed bandits blocked the ever-busy Gozal-Funtua highway and abducted an unspecified number of travelers in Zamfara state. Eyewitness said the bandits allegedly blocked the highway between Kucheri and Magazu communities in Safi local government area of the state and stopped moving vehicles with gunshots. The spokesperson of the Zamfara State Police Command, ASP Yazid Abubakar, confirmed the incident, saying an unspecified number of travelers were abducted during the attack, adding that the police and other security agencies are currently in joint rescue operations to rescue the abducted victims. He, however, denied the reports that 5 mobile policemen were abducted during the shootouts with the bandits, adding that Zamfara is one of several states in northwestern and central Nigeria terrorized by heavily armed gangs who carried out mass abductions for ransom as well as burning and looting homes. The gangs, who maintain camps in a huge forest straddling Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna and Niger states, have also undertaken large-scale kidnappings of pupils from schools in recent years. And this is coming after the gangs raided 4 villages in Katsina State's Sabuwa district, killing 25 people, mostly local vigilantes, in apparent reprisals over military offensives on their hideouts. Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal has pledged to support the families of the 9 Community Protection Guards members who were killed in an ambush by bandits last week. The governor made the pledge during a condolence visit to the Safi Emir's palace, where he met with the bereaved families. A statement on Sunday said during the visit, Lawal expressed his deep sympathy and assured all that the state government would take full responsibility for the well-being of the fallen guards' families. Lawal said the sacrifices made by the guards will not be forgotten, adding that the state remains committed to eradicating banditry, and in addition to his assurances, the governor announced donations of money and foodstuffs to assist the families of the victims. The Emir of Safi, Alhaji Muhammadu Bawa, expressed his gratitude for the governor's support and timely intervention. Kano State Anti-Corruption and Public Complaints Commission has commenced investigations into an alleged 1.5 billion naira foreign scholarship fraud. Already, 2 top officials of the State Ministry of Higher Education have been interrogated in connection with the issue of 1,001 students supposedly studying in India and Kenya. This is coming after the state government sponsored 1,001 postgraduate students to pursue their master's degrees in India and Uganda as part of the government's foreign scholarship scheme, inaugurated by Governor Abba Yusuf. Yusuf recently hosted a farewell dinner for the first batch of 550 beneficiaries of the scholarship at the Government House, commending former Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso for introducing the scheme, and findings revealed that only 418 students were sent abroad for studies, while the whereabouts of the remaining students were unknown. When contacted over the discrepancies, the Commission's Public Relations Officer Kabiru, who confirmed the report, said the 2 top officials were interrogated over the alleged scholarship scam to uncover fraudulent activities at the Office of the Ministry of Higher Education over the postgraduate students to pursue their master's degrees in India and Uganda. 26-year-old man identified as Noura Masood has reportedly set ablaze his grandmother, Zuwaira Mohammed, alive in Moazu village, Dangwanki ward, Sule Tankarkar, local government area of Jigawa state. Masood, who confessed to the crime, claimed that the late grandmother upset him by expressing concern about his physical appearance and health, which does not go down well with him, and had on several occasions warned her about, but she refused. Hence his action to buy petrol, pour and ignite fire on her at their family house. The spokesperson, Jigawa Police Command DSP Shishu, who confirmed these to newsmen, said Masood had since been arrested. DSP Shishu said on 8th of August 2024, the command was notified of a sad and regrettable incident that occurred in Moazu village, Dangwanzi ward, Suletankar local government area, and the elderly woman eventually passed away while being admitted as a result of the conflagration. The medical doctor recalled certified her death, and the corpse was released to relatives for burial according to Islamic rites. A team of police detectives from Sule Tankarkar division quickly arrested the suspect and detained him in the cell, and he was later ferried to the State Criminal Investigation Department for a discreet investigation. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. You're watching the Global News in Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has advised Nigerian universities to focus on demand-driven research that supports industrial growth and national development. Tinubu made the charge to Nigerian universities in his speech at a maiden convocation of the Federal University Burning KB. Tinubu, who was represented at the occasion by the Minister of State Education, Dr. Tanko Yusuf Sununu, highlighted the government's efforts to address infrastructure deficits and increase budgetary allocations to the education sector. The Chancellor of the University, Eze Dr. Cletus Ikechukwu Ilomwanya, CON, reaffirmed the university's commitment to participating in the formulation and implementation of government policies aligned with the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu's administration. He also congratulated the graduates and recipients of honorary degree award of the university as he commended former President Goodluck Jonathan for establishing the Federal University, Birnin Kebbi, in the year 2013. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has called on Nigerian leaders to judiciously use the country's abundant resources to develop the nation. Speaking at the Methodist Archdiocese of Abuja's 40th anniversary celebration on Sunday in Abuja, Obasanjo said Nigeria had all it needed to thrive and stressed the importance of appreciating God's blessings. Obasanjo urged leaders, clergy and citizens to pray for the country's healing while acknowledging that Nigeria's current situation isn't God's fault. President Bola Tinubu, represented by Nyesom Wike, commended the Methodist Church Nigeria for its commitment to social justice, education, and humanitarian outreach, and praised Methodist Church Nigeria for its pioneering role and impactful vision. In his message, our appreciation and gratitude to God, Methodist Church Prelate Dr. Oliver Abba stressed the importance of appreciating God amidst challenges, adding that Nigeria's challenges required divine intervention while calling for peace and faith to achieve the needed goals. Analysts has expressed dismay over electoral irregularities in the country by INEC and desperate politicians. Speaking on the Atlantic Television Network program Open Air, political analyst Luckyman Ejila queried the misconduct of elections by the Independent National Electoral Commission since inception in the country.
They are considering if INEC is going to conduct, if they are going to empower INEC to conduct the local elections or to set up other bodies, which means they are going to disband all the state electoral commissions. Yes, withdrawing their powers and giving it to another body. They also complained that the elections were not free and fair. Why? I have lots of questions to ask. The elections that brought them themselves into power, were these elections free and fair in the first instance? INEC has been accused and reaccused consistently. The fact that INEC favors them, INEC becomes a very good institution.
On his part, Ugochukwu blamed the National Assembly for failing to tackle the issues of electoral irregularity at the grassroots.
Most of them served 8 years, most of them served 4 years, later went back and completed the other 4 years, and have been in the Senate. You know, so they know how it works in the local governments. They will not say that they don't know. And why has this suddenly become an anathema in Nigeria? Everybody is crying, local government, local. Is it because of what is going on in River State that they suddenly woke?
This is coming after the Senate in Abuja strongly condemned the recent local government elections conducted in many states to elect chairmen and councillors, describing them as sham and rape of democracy. It consequently vowed to do the needful about the chariot of survival of democracy in Nigeria through required constitution amendments, ATN reports. People's Democratic Party has commenced the conduct of its state congress in Kano, vowing to bounce back strongly and form a formidable party to reclaim power in 2027. The party's Northwest Zonal National Vice Chairman, Senator Bello Hayatu Gwarzo, who stated this during the Delegates Congress in Kano, said the party will triumph in the 2027 elections. Gwarzo, while in high spirits, expressed confidence that the party would make a good outing across the country in the 2027 general elections, adding that leaders are trying to create a solid foundation that will revive the party in the state and across the nation. According to him, the PDP in the state remains one formidable force, and there are no faction in the party. Also speaking, the chairman electoral panel, Halilu Mazagani, delegated by the party's national headquarters to observe the Congress, applauded the party officials at the state level for a job well done, stressing that the smooth conduct of the Congress is an indication that the PDP will soon settle existing differences between some persons within the party for a better and stronger opposition that can defeat the ruling party. On his part, an elder of the party, Dr. Umar Musa, who represented the former governor of the state, Senator Ibrahim Shekaro, said the party will produce a winning team that can march in any election. Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, has called on President Bola Tinubu to withhold funds meant for local governments in Nigeria due to the actions of state governors. The body said the state governors are arm twisting local government chairmen over council funds. A statement by Ohanaeze's factional secretary general Okechukwu Isuguzoro described the actions of the state governors as an affront to the democratic principles and the rightful autonomy of local government councils across Nigeria. The group said recent judicial mandates by the Supreme Court, which unequivocally granted full administrative and financial autonomy to local government councils, is being flouted with impunity, adding that the conduct is a derision of the foundational tenets of democratic framework, which rallies on the co-equal functioning of the executive, legislative, and the judiciary branches of government. Okechukwu Isuguzoro also said Ohanaeze Ndigbo cannot remain silent in the face of the monumental fraud being perpetrated through the brazen manipulation of the local government system, and expressed deep disappointment that such a regressive and commendable agenda could originate from a southeast governor, specifically Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State. Federal government has intensified efforts to rescue Nigerians currently trapped in Lebanon as the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah worsens. This comes after the president of the Nigeria community in Lebanon, Roland Aibo Bioza, said more than 70 Nigerians have so far registered for evacuation from the crisis-ridden country, while the current crisis began in September with Iran launched a barrage of 180 ballistic missiles towards Israel in retaliation for the assassination of Iran-backed militant leaders. The missile attack, which targeted key sites in Israel, sent Israelis scrambling to shelters, raising concerns about a wider regional conflict. And although the Israeli Defense Forces managed to intercept the missiles, the incident has heightened instability in the region, including Lebanon, which borders Israel and faces its own internal security challenges. In response to the situation, the federal government, through the special assistant to the Nigerian president on social media, Dada Olusegun, issued an alert on October 1st via X.com, urging all Nigerians in Lebanon to get in touch with the Nigerian embassy in Beirut for profiling, documentation, and potential evacuation. The government activated its emergency evacuation protocols through the agencies working closely with the Nigerian mission in Lebanon, especially the National Emergency Management Agency, among others. While some of the trapped Nigerians in the country cried out to the federal government last week for quick intervention as the conflict deepened in Beirut, the Lebanese capital. And now we take a look at business news. New Nigerian People's Party has appealed to President Bola Tinubu to seek the help of former President Goodluck Jonathan on the economic crisis in the country. The call came barely 3 days after the Nigerian Labour Congress and the organized private sector called for the reversal of the no price regime. This is coming following reports from retail stations of NNPC, which raised the price of petrol to 1,030 naira from 897 naira per litre in Abuja and from 868 naira per litre to 998 naira per litre in Lagos, while other locations witnessed similar price hikes, a development that triggered anger among Nigerians. National Secretary of the NNPP, Dipo Olaoyoku, said it was obvious the current administration did not have enough ideas on how to take Nigeria out of the woods, adding that the present government has no iota of solution to the problem of the country. Ola Oyuku, however, suggested that unless Tinubu sought the help of experienced political administrators like Jonathan, whose experience in governance would count, the masses would continue to wallow under the yoke of hardship. Nigerian National Petroleum Limited Company has formally agreed to permit oil marketers who operate under the auspices of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria to commence the lifting of premium motor spirit petrol from its depot at a lower price. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has also committed to issuing imports and off-taker licenses to the oil dealers to either import fuel directly or purchase products straight from the Dangote refinery in line with the government's plan to fully deregulate the oil sector. This is coming after the association threatened to cease operations nationwide due to the high cost associated with loading petroleum products from NNPCL facilities, while IPMAN said the cost of petrol from the Dangote Petroleum Refinery to NNPC was about 898 naira per litre, adding that NNPC was selling the same products to independent marketers at 1,010 naira per litre in Lagos. The association, which controls over 70% of filling stations nationwide, kicked against the development and threatened to down tools, as it also demanded a refund from NNPC for earlier petrol supply payments made by its members. The IPMAN National President, Abubakar Mai Gandhi, argued that the price was higher than what the NNPCL paid for the products from the Dangote refinery and independent marketers' funds and had been held by the National Oil Company for about 3 months. And the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has resolved to make a payment of 10 billion naira to the oil marketers as a standing payment under Petroleum Equalization Fund. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has urged President Bola Tinubu to direct the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to immediately reverse the second increase in petrol prices in 1 month. Pending the hearing and determination of the suit before the Federal High Court, Abuja, challenging the legality of the powers of the NNPCL to increase petrol prices. A statement on Sunday by SARAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization had last month filed a lawsuit against the President and NNPCL over the failure to reverse the unlawful increase in the pump price of petrol and to probe the allegations of corruption and mismanagement in the NNPCL. Adding that the latest increase in petrol prices makes a mockery of the case pending before the Federal High Court and creates a risk that the course of justice will be seriously impeded or prejudiced in the case. SARAP also said allowing the Federal High Courts to hear and determine the case would be entirely consistent with the letter and spirit of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, to uphold the rule of law, adding that increasing petrol prices while the Federal High Court's cases is pending would be prejudice and also undermine the ability of the court to do justice in the case as well as damage public confidence in the court and impede the course of justice. The group also warned that if not immediately reversed, the latest increase in petrol prices would seriously undermine the integrity of the Nigerian Constitution and have serious consequences for the most vulnerable and disadvantaged Nigerians and the public interest. SARAP stressed that increasing petrol prices would compromise the interests of the applicants in the Federal High Court case filed against the federal government and the NNPCL, as the second increase in 1 month directly touches on the central issues and the legality of the first increase, in which the court is set to determine and rule upon. You're still watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Up next is International Tidbits. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called on the UN Chief Antonio Guterres to remove peacekeeping forces in southern Lebanon immediately. The UN interim force in Lebanon said a fifth peacekeeper was injured in southern Lebanon this week, while the Lebanese Health Ministry says 15 people were killed in 3 Israeli attacks in Deir Bella, Masara, and Berja. The IDF says Hezbollah launched around 320 projectiles from Lebanon into Israel, and while in Gaza, at least 29 people have been killed in Israeli airstrikes in the central and northern Gaza Strip. Palestinian health officials estimate that 150 people have been killed, while over the past week, with residents saying the Israeli military has encircled Jabalia and ordered them to leave via one corridor. At least 8 people have been confirmed dead and thousands stranded without power after violent storms ravaged central and southeastern Brazil. The storms come after the country experienced its worst ever drought, intensifying the impact of the severe weather, and Brazil's National Institute of Meteorology said the winds reached speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour, with some areas receiving as much as 10 centimeters of rain in a single day. The state of Sao Paulo, Brazil's most populous region, has been hardest hit, with 7 fatalities reported, and the deaths were primarily caused by falling trees and collapsing infrastructure due to the intense winds and heavy rainfall. Many residents of Sao Paulo described the storm as sudden and overwhelming, with blackouts plunging large areas of the state into darkness. In response to the prolonged outages, President of the Parque São Roberto neighborhood in Sao Paulo staged a protest bagging pots and pans after enduring more than 24 hours without electricity. While in the capital city of Brasilia, a soldier was killed and another injured during the storm at the military police headquarters. Kamala Harris has released her medical records, which concluded she is in excellent health and fit for the presidency. Following the disclosure, the Democratic Party's nominee to be the next U.S. president accused Donald Trump of a lack of transparency over not releasing his own health records. The vice president also claimed her Republican rival doesn't want the American people to see whether or not he's fit to become president, and without revealing Trump's medical records. The former president's team responded by quoting his doctor as saying that he was in perfect and excellent health. The Trump campaign said the Republican nominee had an extremely busy and active campaign schedule and claimed Harris does not have the stamina of President Donald Trump. Dr. Joshua Simmons, a U.S. Army colonel, who has been Harris' physician for over 3 years, wrote that her most recent physical in April was unremarkable, adding that she maintains a healthy and active lifestyle. Ukraine's human rights ombudsman has denounced the alleged execution of 9 Ukrainian troops by Russian forces in the Kursk border region. Metro Luminant said they had written to the United Nations and the Red Cross about allegations accusing Moscow of breaching all the rules and customs of war, adding that the intervention follows reporting by Ukrainian human rights organization, which published drone footage purporting to show the dead troops who were drone operators. Kyiv have deployed thousands of troops into the Russian border region since it launched its shock incursion earlier this summer, while the dead Ukrainian troops stripped to their underwear and lying face down in what appeared to be farmland in Kursk. The outlets said the drone operators had been overrun by a rapid Russian advance, and Kyiv has frequently accused Russia of executing captured Ukrainian troops, a war crime under the Geneva Convention. It added that an official investigation had been opened into reports that 16 Ukrainian soldiers were executed in the eastern Donetsk region near the city of Pokrovsk, where fighting has raged for months, and officials say the reports would mark the largest mass execution of Ukrainian prisoners of war by Russian troops since Moscow launched its invasion in February 2022. Here now is ATN Sports News. Galatasaray manager Okan Buruk has provided an update on the future of striker Victor Osimhen, that he is currently on loan with Galatasaray from Napoli. There have been reports suggesting that his stay at the Turkish Giants could be cut short with an exit in the January transfer window, because Premier League club Chelsea are one of the teams being linked with the 25-year-old. Baruch insisted that Osimhen is happy at Galatasaray, ruling out the possibility of the former Lille player leaving in January. Super Eagles flew out to Libya on Sunday morning for 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifying match day for encounter against the Mediterranean Knights. The team's chartered flight had a stopover in Kano before proceeding to Benghazi. The Super Eagles were previously scheduled to travel to Tripoli and then make a 2-hour trip by road to Benghazi, and the plan was, however, later jettisoned to avoid stress for the players and officials. Libya will host the Super Eagles at a 10,000 capacity stadium in Benina on Tuesday, and the ground is 10 kilometers from Benghazi, while their encounter will kick off at 8 p.m. Nigerian time. Former Everton chairman Keith Winnes has urged Manchester United to appoint their former player Michael Carrick as the new manager to succeed Erik ten Hag. Winnes insisted that Carrick, who is Man United's caretaker coach in the past, is a good manager. Ten Hag is under intense pressure at Old Trafford and is very much fighting for his job amid speculation over his future. Malawi's Temwa Chawinga has broken Sam Kerr's record for the most goals in a single national women's soccer league season with 19 goals, according to reports from Fabrizio Romano's X handle on Sunday. Chawinga, who plays forward for the Kansas City Current of the National Women's Soccer League and the Malawi national team, broke the record in her first season in the NWSL. The 26-year-old striker previously played for Swedish club Kramsvidens, IK, and Chinese club Wuhan Jianghan University, while Chawinga's 19 goals have come from 24 games, while she has scored every 109 minutes on average, having 103 shots, registering a shot conversion rate of 18.63%. Kerr remains the outright record holder for National Women's Soccer League goals, with the Australian having plundered 113 more than next best Lane Williams. Chawinga's record-breaking goals were enough to seal a 1-0 win for the Current over Bay FC, leaving Kansas City third in the National Women's Soccer League standings. And now we bring you the entertainment news. Popular Nigerian comedian Oluseyi Aletile, professionally known as Seyi Lo, says Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has no serious contenders ahead of the Ondo State governorship election. The comedian stated this while reacting to the allegation of assault against the governor following a viral video of a man who has the same facial features like that of Aiyedatiwa in a heated argument with some women. One of the women were holding the man's clothes, accusing him of a physical assault, and the video surfaces ahead of the forthcoming Ondo State 2024 governorship election. Speaking amid the controversy, Seyi Lo warned that it would be perceived as oppression if the governor takes legal action against those spreading the video on the internet. This is coming after Seyi Lo was appointed on July 2024 as a senior special assistant on entertainment and tourism to Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. Joan Kelly, the daughter of a famous American singer R. Kelly, has claimed that her father sexually abused her as a child. Joanne said she first reported the abuse to her mother, Drea, in 2009. The 26-year-old, who did not detail the alleged abuse, stated in an episode of the documentary titled Karma, A Daughter's Journey, that the jail sentence of the 57-year-old singer is well deserved. Reacting to the documentary, the singer's lawyer, Jennifer Bonjean, in a public statement denied the allegations, adding that the singer was sentenced to 20 years in prison in February 2023 for child pornography and enticement charges. He will serve the years concurrently with a prior 30-year prison sentence from a separate case in New York on July 26, 2022. And that's it on the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. We're told you that NNDC begins repairs of east-west roads. Government imposes 14